It's going to be a long wait for the Dallas Cowboys, but eventually Ed Too Tall Jones will walk up to the microphone in Nashville and say, and with the 58th pick in the NFL Draft, the Dallas Cowboys select that in a moment. But first, this.
Let the Cowboys experience introduce you to a whole new way to enjoy a football game. Make lasting memories by booking at cowboysexperience.com today.
Normally it's a good thing when it takes a long time for you to draft. It means you're coming off a good season. For the Cowboys, though, it's partially coming off a good season, partially because they traded their first round pick. So it's going to be an excruciatingly long wait for the Dallas Cowboys and their fans until they finally make a selection. Now, they could very well move up in the draft and trade to get back in the first round. But since they don't exactly have a glaring need, I know that sounds crazy, it would be hard for me to believe that they'd give up that much future draft capital in order to get back into the first round. They could, they probably won't. Without question, the Cowboys will certainly be taking the best available at 58, which is what everybody says. What does that mean? Will they be taking a quarterback if quarterback is high on their draft board at 58? Probably not. Ultimately, what it means is they're going to take the best available player at positions that they think they need. Safety, though, is probably the most likely way they'll go at 58. And that's because the Cowboys invited 6 different safeties of a possible 30 in order to visit with them pre-draft. 4 of those 6, the top 4, could very well be available to the Cowboys at 58. One is Jonathan Abram, a safety from Mississippi State, who some have as the top safety on their draft board. Now, we've heard recently that Abram could fall to the second round, but my guess is he'll be gone within the first couple of picks in the second round, meaning no Cowboys. There's 2 names on that list that could very well be available to the Cowboys at 58. One is Taylor Rapp, a safety from Washington, who was one of the top safeties on most draft boards until he free fell after a 4.78 40-yard dash time at the NFL Draft Combine. Now, if you've projected him as a free safety center fielder, then a 4.7 40 is atrocious and probably fallen off your draft board. But he's a smart, instinctive, intellectual football player who has a work ethic and is really, really good in the box at the point of attack, in getting downhill and making tackles. The other guy, though, and I think this is the guy the Cowboys want the most, is Juan Thornhill, a safety from Virginia. This is a guy that led Virginia in both tackles with 98 and interceptions with 6. Their safety led them in tackles with nearly 100 on the season. He's really good at the point of attack. He's physical and can get downhill. And he has that combination of being able to play downhill, also having great ball skills. 6 interceptions, 9 passes defensed. He's a guy that has both the ability to play in the box and as a free safety in coverage. He's the guy that I think the Cowboys will most likely single in on if available at 58. In fact, Dane Brugler of The Athletic has mocked him to the Cowboys at 58. Now, if both Rapp and Thornhill are gone at 58, then I think the Cowboys will go one of 2 ways. They'll either go with defensive tackle or they'll go at wide receiver. Now, you might be thinking, don't they have enough wide receivers? And my answer to that is you can never have enough wide receivers. As I've been arguing this entire offseason, the Cowboys need to install a more pass-heavy offensive system. Why? Because passing is more efficient than running. Meaning if you pass more times than you run, you're bound to score more points over the course of the season. And though Randall Cobb was a great acquisition, he does have health concerns, and so slot receivers like a Deebo Samuel or others could fall to them at 58 and would be a good option in the absence of one of those 2 safeties being available to the Cowboys at 58. But look, at the end of the day, you really have to go on track record. How does your team's decision makers fare every year in the draft? And for the Dallas Cowboys, there are very few organizations in the NFL, if any, that have as good of a track record as they do in terms of the draft. Let's just look at a basic metric here to define their success, okay? In the last 5 drafts, the Cowboys are hitting on 62% of their picks. That's insanity. Now, how I've described hits or measured hits in this particular way would be at least 32 games played, 2 full seasons. I might be saying in last 5 drafts, you're counting last year, which is impossible for those guys to have played in 32 games, and the year before, which they'd have to play in every game, and it's rare that you'd have a player that does that. And I understand that. So I've accepted 10 games played from this past draft and 20 from the previous draft. And that number is 62%. In the last 5 drafts, the Cowboys have taken 42 players, 26 of them fall into this category. There is no other organization in the NFL that's even close to hitting at that level. So we know without a doubt that the Cowboys are going to drastically improve their personnel through this draft and head into the season with an even better roster than they did last year. Which means nothing is holding them back from success in 2019. Well, nothing except for, Jason Garrett.
Let the Cowboys Experience introduce you to a whole new way to enjoy a football game. Make lasting memories by booking at cowboysexperience.com today.